Bringer of Rain Boxing Talk here, folks. Coming at you with another updated thoughts on the Pac-Man and Spence fight. Now, really quickly, I just want to acknowledge the feedback I've gotten on my last video. It's quite frankly been somewhat overwhelming, but at the same time, eye-opening to see some of the insight from both sides of the fence, Pac-Man fans and Spence fans alike. And I do appreciate the engagement with the video. Like I said. But anyway, I just want to touch on something, a growing trend I've been seeing in the build-up to this fight, and we're still, a little over 2 months away. But that's the fact that the Errol Spence crowd, from what I've seen with my eyes, they seem to think if their guy wins the fight, it's not going to be via decision or even a competitive affair. Most of the comments and remarks I've seen from the Spence fans think that it's going to be a bloodbath for Manny Pacquiao, that he's going to get slaughtered in the ring, that it's going to be uncompetitive, and that basically Pac-Man is the sacrificial lamb, a la Oscar de la Hoya in their fight many, many years ago. Now, I think that's an irresponsible take, in my humble opinion. Now, let me just touch on one thing really quickly here. Their main takeaway is that Manny Pacquiao is 42 years old. We've never seen a 40-plus-year-old welterweight champion operate, and he's just too old. I keep seeing that over again. He's too old, he's too frail, he's too weak, blah, blah, blah. Look here, folks. I just got this to say, and I'm going to say it bluntly. All we can go off of is the last time we saw Manny Pacquiao in the ring. And furthermore, we can go off of a larger sample size. The last 3 times we've seen Manny Pacquiao in the ring. And guess what? His fight against Lucas Matisse, Adrian Broner, and Keith Thurman, the hand speed was still plus, the foot speed was still plus, and he was still markedly faster than all of his opponents that he's faced recently. And he's fought some very fast fighters and very good boxers in Thurman and Broner. Now, we can speculate that with any fighter at any time, Oh, well, we don't know how he's going to look. He's a year older and this and that. That's just such a lame and lazy take here, guys. Let's do a little bit of due diligence here and look at the sample size we've gotten over his last few fights. Folks, the speed is still there. I don't want to hear he's 42 years old. We don't know what's going to happen. We can't say. Then what's the point of even building up the fight? So do these people just think that they shouldn't hold a press conference, that there should be no interviews, that there should be no pre-fight 24/7 documentary type of deal, that we should just wait and see? Because he's 42 years old, so we don't know, we can't predict. Come on, man. That's such a lame and lazy take. Look at his last fight. The hand speed was still there. Look at his training. The speed is still there. I don't want to hear, he's 42 years old, so he's just going to get slaughtered. It's a lazy take, and I'm tired of seeing it. It's not true. Pac-Man still has his speed. He still has his hand speed. And I'm telling you, he's going to have a hand speed advantage over Errol Spence. And some people are just not happy with that. But that's just plain facts. Anyway, I want to get into the main meat of this video. And it's the topic of a knockout for Manny Pacquiao. Because I've been seeing nothing but knockout predictions for Errol Spence. But folks, not only did I mention that the hand speed advantage is going to be in favor of Manny Pacquiao, I actually think that it's not out of the realm of possibility that the Pac-Man is the puncher in this fight. Now, I know the optics look better for Errol Spence. He's the younger, fresher fighter, has the bigger frame, is more muscle-bound compared to Pacquiao, who's more diminutive and lean and cut and not bulky. But, guys, we always bash on Manny Pacquiao. He hasn't finished his opponents. The last 3 fights for Errol Spence haven't exactly been bloodbaths either. Now, he fought Danny Garcia and Mikey Garcia and Showtime Sean Porter. All 3 of those fights went the distance. And lest I remind you guys, Mikey Garcia is actually more of a lightweight that moved up to welterweight. And I'll even go further. Danny Garcia's career at 140 far surpassed what he did at welterweight. Danny Garcia hasn't done a thing at welterweight. He's mostly known for his title runs at the super lightweight division. So he's not even what I would consider to be a full-fledged, legitimate welterweight. The guy hasn't done shit at welterweight. I'm sorry. I'm just putting it plainly right there. And Errol Spence hasn't really come close to putting any of those guys away. And what's especially eye-opening is I think people should look at that Mikey Garcia fight. Now, Mikey got tagged a lot, got hit with a lot of jabs, but he was never in danger of being stopped in that fight. And I think that's a testament to his ring IQ and savviness as a veteran. You don't think Pacquiao is even more savvy than Mikey Garcia? Folks, Errol Spence is not going to knock out Manny Pacquiao. If anything, I've looked at the reaction and the faces of Manny Pacquiao's past opponents, and I don't think it's out of the question. At 42 years of age, I think Manny Pacquiao might be the puncher against Errol Spence. Look at the face of Keith Thurman, okay? The guy looked like he just went through a car accident after that fight. Look at Adrian Broner. He's known for fighting tentatively, and the man, he threw like 5 punches the whole fight. He tasted a few left hands from Manny Pacquiao, and I think Broner was surprised. And he got on his bicycle, and we saw him do pretty much jack shit in that fight. And we've never seen Lucas Matisse drilled, blasted out of the ring. He's fought a lot of great fighters, but Manny Pacquiao just ragdolled him. Like he was just discarded him like a piece of garbage. Now, I actually think that Errol Spence is going to be surprised by the punch of Manny Pacquiao. I think that a lot of boxing fans are going to be surprised when Manny's hanging in there in the exchanges and is in the pocket with Errol Spence. Some people just think that Spence is going to tee off and, be bouncing Manny off the ring with his shots. Folks, don't be surprised if Manny is the puncher in this fight. And don't be surprised if a knockout happens. It's probably more likely that it's going to be Manny. Now let's talk about again the styles of the fighters that have given Pac-Man trouble. Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Juan Manuel Marquez, fighters with excellent back foot games, excellent counter punches, and high fight IQs, and all-time great defensive capabilities. All of those do not apply to Errol Spence Jr. Folks, he's going to come forward. He's going to be trying to create an action with Pacquiao, and that could be dangerous when you're doing that against a guy who has a bigger punch than you and has faster hands than you. And I think it's going to come down to the endurance and stamina of Manny Pacquiao. If Manny Pacquiao still has his legs under him and can rip off vicious combinations, that's going to be dangerous for a guy like Errol Spence, who's walking forward and trying to be on his front foot and aggressive against Manny Pacquiao. There's going to be a lot of opportunities for combination punches for Pac-Man. And I think that if he's working in training camp, which is what I've heard he's doing to increase his stamina from his last fight, it could actually be a knockout for Errol Spence. This is a guy who is not going to probably utilize his height advantage and reach advantage because of the fact he's coming forward and pressing Manny Pacquiao. He's not going to be on his back foot flicking a jab trying to walk Pacquiao into a counter. No, he's already said he's looking to retire Manny Pacquiao. This is his own words. And I think if he tries to come forward and create an action with the Pacquiao who just needs a little bit more stamina than he had in his Thurman fight, which I think is possible because I've seen him in training and he looks really good, I think he might be walking into a world of hurt. Folks, Pac-Man has the faster hands. He might have the bigger punch. Actually, I think he does have the bigger punch. And Spence could be surprised. Don't be surprised if Errol Spence is TKO'd in this fight, guys.